My next guests are finalists in the Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year in the international category, and the big event is happening gala this week in Dublin. But before they get all spruced up to go there and lift the award, I'm delighted to welcome the Managing Director, Fergus McArdle, and Operations Director, Frances McArdle of Height for Hire to Late Lunch. You're both very welcome to the show. Thank you for joining me. May I say well done to you again. Fergus, this is a hell of an achievement to be in the final shake-off for this award. How did this come about?
Yeah, no, just first of all to say, Gerry, we're delighted to be here. And it's a big deal for us. We're a family business. We're 40 years in business. But in recent years, particularly during the hard times, we became a client of Enterprise Ireland. And they helped us along the way, and they got us to professionalise, to look more at our systems, to look more at technology, etc. And they, in fact, recommended us, or they recommended that we would do an interview for the EY Entrepreneur of the Year, and yeah, we were shortlisted for that.
Fantastic. And in the international category, Frances, how come international? Because my perception of Height for Hire, through your dad Harry, who founded the business in 1978, would be that you're an Irish company only, but not so.
Well, Gerry, we're delighted that you feel that we're a local company, because we are local in every area that we serve. But we actually have depots. We have 20 locations now, 10 in Ireland, 5 in the UK and 5 in Slovakia and Hungary. So we are actually an international company, but with a very local feel, employing local people in all the areas that we work in.
That's news to me, and I'm sure news to a lot of people as well. When did this international expansion start?
Well, Fergus, you can probably talk more about that, but it really kicked off when the boom was happening. We could see that it couldn't keep going at the rate it was. So 2004, 2005, we started looking around and saying, okay, is this sustainable? So Fergus, you can pick it up from there, because you're the Manchester man.
Okay. Well, our first expansion was into Northern Ireland in the 90s, the mid-90s, and that was after the peace process, and of course things were opening up, and we moved there, and then into Scotland a little bit after that. That obviously was a huge leap for us, but it gave us the confidence to begin to expand more and more. In the mid-noughties, as Frances mentioned, we saw the economy somewhat overheating here, so we bought into a business in Central Europe, which now we wholly own.
And, you know, it was good sense in a way, wasn't it, as Frances mentioned there, because you had the vision to see that this was not going to last. And a lot of your business was tied in, of course, with the construction sector.
Yes, very, very much so. And at the time, I knew, even coming from the manufacturers, that they all had a huge interest in Ireland. They were saying, this is great. And we were thinking, well, this is not so great. How is a small country like this buying as much machinery as the UK? It didn't make sense to us.
Diversification, the key. And would you say the key, Frances, then to your business, seeing yourselves through those difficult days, yes?
Oh, there were some dark days, you know, where the turnover was dropping month on month, and we had to, you know, start thinking fast. And a lot of the machinery was coming straight from Ireland and going into the UK depots. But, you know, the good part of that was that we were ready for jobs like the London Olympics. And, you know, that was where we really cut our teeth and got into the London market. And as Fergus says, looked further afield into Central Europe. So now we're quite well placed to spread even more, and we're looking to scale the business from now.
And I think also to add to that, we've always had a huge interest in specialisation. So when we're looking at large machines, we have machines that will go 30 stories. They're 90-metre machines, and there are 10 in the British Isles. We have 7. So that level of specialisation all through darker times, that obviously helped to keep us on top of our game.
You have a very nifty little machine as well that even the likes of me with a driving licence could probably hire, yes?
That's correct. Frances is going
That's on the other end of the scale, isn't it?
Well, that's our 20-metre self-drive. And what's different about it, Gerry, is in previous times you'd have to have a lorry licence to be able to collect one of those, and that increases the cost to people. And just in the last week with Storm Ophelia, you know, she left a lot of damage all over the country. So rather than getting up on a rickety ladder, or, I won't even talk about the other things that people might try and do, you can come and pick up one of these 20-metre machines and drive it home yourself. Get into the good books with all your relations and clean their gutters while you have it, and then drop it back. And, we're running a lot of those self-drive machines out of Ashburn here,
And I think the most important thing about that is people are getting home safe. This is the right machine for the right job.
It's a huge ethos, I know, of your company as well. Safety at work. There's never an ill wind, obviously, for Height for Hire.
Oh, don't make us look like ambulance chasers, Gerry,
I know, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. The TV people and all these people when the wind blows, and the roofers and everybody, but you're part of that, and we understand that as well. Height for Hire, it does what it says on the tin, I take it. You raise people up off the ground to do jobs, Fergus, that, you need assistance with. That's it. It's simple business, is it?
It is. Well, it is simple on one level, yeah. We have lots of different customers coming from construction, facility management. We do wind energy. And one of the more interesting ones, we're not usually used to being on this side of the microphone. We do a lot of work in film and TV as well.
Yes, and I'm going to name drop here now for a minute, Game of Thrones,
yes,
working
correct.
with acts like U2 and Ed Sheeran. You are lucky people. The Olympic Games, and you were involved, of course, in the redevelopment, 2 big jobs in Ireland, Croke Park and Lansdowne Road.
Absolutely, yeah, we had machines, and just even recently they were doing some reconfiguration work. We were back there again. So
you're now going to get the goon on, Frances?
Oh, the big job, Gerry. It was a big job, but I'm going to pack myself into a frock. Yeah,
yes,
full length. So.
And the final is this week, Thursday night, is it? Yes,
it's Thursday night. Yeah, we have the gala event on Thursday night, and we get to meet all the competitors and all the good and the great. Yeah, we're looking forward to it very much.
Now, you've been on TV, I know this already, in the run into the major award night itself, and you've been featured, and your business has been featured. Your dad was there, Harry, featured for a short time. I saw it as well. Do you have to go through a specific process? I'm sure you do, to get to where you are now.
Yes, we went through several different stages. So as we mentioned, we were recommended by Enterprise Ireland, but then of course, we were interviewed by the EY team, and then we had the big interview, Frances, with the judges. Yeah.
Frances, you're shaking your head there.
It was a room full of business people, and they just fire questions at you. You don't know what you're going to be asked. Could be any aspect of the business, and a lot of very successful people, previous winners as well. So in one way, it was the fastest 20 minutes of my life, and then the slowest, because
it was like the Irish oral multiplied by 1,000. I think it reminded me of my days in St. Joseph's CPS.
Yeah.
And that was a test. I can even remember it myself, Fergus. It still stays with me. I know what you're talking about now. But obviously, when you have a successful business, when you've come through the difficult years that we have here, you've expanded on the international front, and you're really good at what you do, when you stand up there, all of that must carry you through, and has carried you through as well.
Yeah, well, I think one thing that we would say is that we are a family business, and we've been 40 years in business, and a lot of people have been there for almost that length of time with us. So there's huge specialisation. So it's not about us or our success carrying us through. It's about all the people that work with us, and of course our customers as well. Everybody helps. Everybody.
Back to safety, because, of course, you work closely, I know, with the Construction Industry Federation. That is part of what you do, yes?
That's correct, yes. Frances can tell you a little bit about that.
This week, actually, Gerry, is Construction Safety Week. And yesterday was Working at Heights. The feature was Working at Heights. So I was actually out delivering talks, and we made a video that's available on the Height for Hire website to encourage people to work safely at height, and that has been taken up by a lot of the Construction Industry Federation members. So it is something that's at the absolute heart of what we do. It's the reason the business was set up, to solve the problem of people falling from height and injuring themselves. And I don't want to be too morbid, because I know this is an upbeat programme, but there were 2 fatalities over the weekend, and it's very, very tragic and very sad, and our hearts go out to those families who didn't think they were going to have that this week.
And it's inevitable that this happens through the year, but it's a question of trying to minimise and educate and get people to understand the dangers. You mentioned, Fergus, even just a ladder, simple simple thing like a ladder. You can be killed from a ladder.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes. And I think education is the word. When you mentioned it, Gerry, is incredibly important. And we were just talking about with Storm Ophelia that while there was, I was in the UK last week, and a lot of very high-ranking people. I was speaking to the operations director of the RNLI, and he felt the Irish government had done a fantastic job, in giving a very clear message, a timely message. But then in the aftermath of the clean-up, that message should have been continued to say that, there is more work to do, there's more clean-up, and there are also clear and present dangers there as well.
You employ around about 200 people, so you are a significant employer in your business. A lot of people stay with you. I've heard this as well, and I've spoken to people who I know who've worked with your dad and with yourselves as well, and they had nothing but good words to say about you. That must be pleasing, and I tell you that honestly.
Well, thanks for that, Gerry. Yeah, we really appreciate it. And as a family business, we work very hard, and anybody who has a family business or a family farm will know that it's all hands on deck. And as Fergus said earlier, it is the great people that we have, and this award is for Team Height for Hire. We don't see ourselves as individuals. We see this as an award for the team. So no, it's great to have the good team, and there are, when you add up all the years of work, there are hundreds of years of experience in the business, and that really does carry you through all the innovations, and that's where a lot of the brains is coming from. We're only at the front, Gerry. All the brainy people are backing us up from behind.
It's really nice of you to say that as well, and I'm sure they appreciate it. Is there ever a scramble to work on Game of Thrones with you two, Ed Sheeran, rather than the other mundane jobs, Fergus? And I take nothing away from any job you do.
That's a good question. I think that some people, definitely it's nice to have, the backstage pass to go into Game of Thrones, and you can hear the smile on the face of the guy when he's ringing you to tell you that he's going down to have a look at one of these jobs. But also some of the work we do is so interesting, that like we were featured on the television working on Capitol Dock, really fantastic project. And I have a background in architecture as well, so getting to go onto these sites is so interesting. And even getting to see these huge civil or industrial works. We work within the wind energy sector, both onshore and offshore, that we're working in energy from waste facilities. Really fantastic, amazing structures all over the British Isles.
The biggest queue, Gerry, is for the sports events, I'd just like to say. And a lot of people who don't operate the big truck mounts will still volunteer, especially if the tickets are in short supply. So,
well, it's funny you say that, Francis. I maybe will even get myself in trouble for saying this, but we worked on the British Grand Prix, and it was fantastic. We couldn't take any photographs, but it was great to be there.
Yeah. What a privilege it is to be involved in such wonderful events. So Thursday night is sit back and relax night. You have no more to do. The die is cast. You have nothing to do on the night itself but show up. Is that it?
That's it. But, I was very shocked to find out that they don't tell you in advance. I have watched Entrepreneur of the Year for years, and I always thought, well, they have to tell them. They have to warn them. They actually do not warn you. Unless they do warn the winner, I'm not sure, but they don't let you know. Don't. It's a complete surprise.
Yes, listen, you're a rookie here. You may not be in the years to come, but look, let's hope that the star is shining on Height for Hire this Thursday, and the event then will be televised. It's going out on television. Is it early next week?
It's going out on Monday.
Monday, yes, on Monday. That's right.
Monday evening
Monday
on B3. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, look, lovely to meet both of you today. Just wanted to acknowledge your success. You're winners all the way, no matter what happens on Thursday night. Believe me, you really are. And in case you mightn't have noticed, there's a Height for Hire vehicle in the LMFM
we did
car park at the moment.
We did. Thank you for your business, Gerry. Much appreciated.
The new logo's going off on the building. Thanks to Height for Hire. Good luck to both the Managing Director Fergus McArdle, Operations Director Frances McArdle, and to your dad Harry, who founded the business in 1978, and all your family and staff as well. Have a great one on Thursday, and thank you for dropping into us on Late Lunch today. Thank you.
Thanks, Gerry. Thank you.